And mark my words, Jake Hill will go down as one of the most legendary emo kind of alternative rappers of our time. What's up guys, Jordan Needham from Jham Entertainment, and welcome to another episode of Shredheads. And look at this, it actually hasn't been that long, which is a surprise. We're kind of in a flow, but I don't want to jinx it, so let's just act like I didn't say that. Today's episode applies to not just musicians, but all artists and entrepreneurs, because as entrepreneurs and artists, we've all heard one phrase, and that is to stick to your niche. Well, today we're gonna analyze a rapper, artist, musician, Jake Hill, to look into why stick to your niche may not actually be the best piece of advice.
Paint the target on my back a little larger so you hit it. You ain't shit but a bitch. Now you fucked up.
Now, I know what you're thinking. I know there's probably some people already kind of freaking out, like, God, niche is important. Well, actually, half the people are wondering why you said niche instead of niche. Well, if you look it up on Google, both are right.
Niche, niche.
Niche, or Google is wrong. I don't know. Google's a good friend, but he's a little untrustworthy. And you know, there's a part of it that's important, but by the end of this video, you'll understand what it is that I mean. So before we go into Jake Hill, stick to your niche or raise your ceiling. What does that mean? All right, let's go into this. Pros and cons of sticking to your niche. A pro of sticking to your niche, as somebody who just started a business and a pretty young artist, you know, I'm only like 18, almost 19 in like 10 days. Sticking to a niche can be really useful in the beginning of your artistic careers or entrepreneur career, just because people know what they're getting out of you, and it allows you to focus on one particular thing, so you're not just like mind boggled and scrambled all over the place. Focus is important for any artist and any knowledge worker out there. And if you want to learn more about focusing and kind of getting in the zone per se, I recommend the book Deep Work by Cal Newport. Terrific book. It changed my entire life and work schedule, and I really do mean that. It's amazing. But not to get too far off topic, so we got two pros already going for sticking to your niche. That is, it's easier to begin with because people know what they're looking for when they see you, and it's easier for you to focus on one thing, and then you don't get scrambled thinking about a whole bunch of other stuff and then half-assing everything instead of doing really good at one thing. But we're gonna get into that a little bit more because there's more to that. Another thing is it's easier to market to people, to your fans, to your customers, whether you're a business owner or an artist. It's easier to market when you only have like one particular niche, because then you don't have this like wide array of everybody. Again, it's a focused thing. So your fans, if you're an artist, they know what they're getting when they listen to your songs. It develops this branding type of sound. Now let's move on to the cons, because these are like never talked about. These are like never discussed. When somebody gives you the advice, stick to your niche, kid, they never bring this up, okay? Number one, and this is probably the biggest thing that I see in the metalcore industry, is that it leaves you in this closed-minded box. It lowers your ceiling because you're not able to really create. You're saying, okay, this is my box of my niche, okay? So I'm sticking into this, and I'm not gonna create something new because the fans aren't gonna like it. I think I'll just stay in this box, and it'll be great. So if you say you're a metalcore band, because this is a particularly closed-minded community in my opinion, like a metalcore band is allowed to play one sound. Immediately when they do anything to change that sound, people just go ballistic, okay? So it puts you in this box of like, well, we can't make that. We are an R&B artist, or we're a metalcore artist, or we're a deathcore artist, or whatever it is. Instead of saying, okay, I'm just an artist and I make music and I do what I want to do, then you can make whatever you want to make. And there are some downsides, as we discussed, but it puts you in this creative, rather uncreative box. Moving on from that, there's actually like a follow-up con that just, it's kind of like a natural progression from somebody sticking to their sound forever. You get old. Your sound gets old. After like 3 or 4 albums of the same thing, people are like, okay, they had their glory, they had their 3 albums, and you know what? I think we got the most out of this band or this artist because their next album is gonna sound the same. So again, that box put them in this direction where now that they can't change, the fans have gotten the best out of that band or artist that they'll ever see, because everything they're gonna ever put put out is gonna be more or less the same. And then continuing down that path of that kind of natural progression of that closed-minded thing, I mean, I guess this is assuming that everything was closed off by your niche. Well, it's actually really easy to fall out and kind of fall behind with the times. If you're only good at one thing, like you're really, really good at one particular sound, okay, like 08 metalcore. 2014 rolls around and now all you do is play 08 metalcore. You kind of put yourself in that period of 08 and that's what people expect from you, and you're kind of seen as irrelevant even though you're still putting out music or you're still putting out art. It just feels like it's from those times. Okay, so those are the pros and cons of sticking to your niche. Kind of limited, I didn't want to go too deep into it, but before we move on to how Jake Hill kind of broke these boundaries of sticking to your niche as a rapper, you may be wondering, well, Jordan, you're talking all about art, you're throwing it out there like you know a few things, what do you do as an artist? Well, that's a great question. So I'm by no means the greatest artist out there. You know, I'm pretty young, so I've only had a few years under my belt, but for a while now, I've considered myself a CGI artist. Right here is an example of something that I created, and I actually make a ton of 3D renders based off of sci-fi and space kind of feels. So if you're into sci-fi and space, kind of that futuristic look, you can support me by heading on over to my website, jhamentertainment.com/products, and actually pick yourself up a canvas print or a frame photo. It's something that I love doing. It's something I do every day, and I continue to work harder to get better at it. So I'd really appreciate your support. But anyways, enough of me. That's not why you guys came here. Okay, moving on. For what you guys, I'm assuming, came here for. Jake Hill and a little bit of Josh A. Okay, right before we get into the details of Jake Hill, I do want to mention that Josh A is also very prominent and relevant with Jake Hill, and they do a lot of albums kind of side by side. And so if I mention Jake Hill and I fail to mention Josh A, it's more so because I'm focusing on Jake Hill because I don't want it to get too confusing. Josh, if you're listening to this is no diss to you. It's just I wanted to focus on one of you, and I personally listen to Jake Hill the most. Okay, so I started listening to Jake Hill right around the time Better Off Dead 3 came out, I believe. It's really interesting because nowadays, if you listen to like his most recent album, which I believe at the time is Autumn Gloom, if you compare and contrast those two albums, those are two completely different sounds and styles of rap.
It's the fucking purge, get what you deserve, fuck what you done heard. It's the purge, get what you played with my heart. We're doomed, we knew this all from the start.
And it really hasn't been that long between those two sounds, you know, like usually it takes a decade for somebody to evolve their sound almost.
You know, it's probably like 5 years, but 10 sounds great.
For those of you that aren't very familiar with it, Better Off Dead is kind of like this trap rap, kind of in the realm of like Suicide Boys, just like really aggressive, heavy hitting hard rap. Like that's what got kind of the metal side of Jake Hill's fan base into it. But Autumn Gloom is more of this like emo rap, kind of laid back sound of, you know, like love songs and stuff like that. So right around the time that trap rap kind of started to get a little stale, I would say, like there's only so much of it you can listen to, and there's still a lot of good artists out there, but I just feel like it's something that, you know, if you make a whole album of it, it's gonna start to sound the same. And so I feel like what happened was Jake Hill and Josh A kind of got together and they were like, you know, we're more than just this. We're more than, you know, Mindless or the Better Off Dead. You know, we can do other things with our rap, so why not do it? And so if you look at it around 2018, when their final Better Off Dead album came out, Jake Hill also released an album called Chaos. And this is where I think you start to see like a little bit more of their emo rap kind of vibes moving into their sounds.
I just wanna wake up and feel weightless. Most of the time I hate this. Post up all the time with a fake grin, and inside it's raining.
And then moving forward from that, we had Soulless by Jake Hill. Soulless, not soulless, but soulless, like summer soul, right? Wait, no, hold on, but okay, Soulless. I'll put it on the screen, you'll get what I'm saying. Now this album was kind of more of like a laid back, almost stoner kind of sound.
I'm stressed about what's out of my control. Life is a journey, the best thing you can do is ride it slow. The highs and lows will come and go, you better buckle.
I would say the best comparison is kind of like a stoner rap Dizzy Wright kind of vibe. Now we're seeing all this sound change, and these all happened within like 2 years. And then right after that in 2019, we got Save Our Souls, which was another duo between the two, Jake Hill, Josh A. This was like the full-on emo rap. Like they went hardcore into it. They're like, this is what we're doing, the kind of gloomy emo rap sound.
Every time I hear a name now, I fell in love with your face, but not your soul.
But then at the same time, they're also releasing singles like Jake Hill did Wake Up, which is just a super bonkers, like it's like a metal rap song. I mean, it's like trap rap to the extreme. There's a literal breakdown in it.
Don't you worry, in the end I'll see your fucking face again. You fucking bitch.
This guy's releasing stuff that, you know, you want to cry and hold your girlfriend to, and then there's other ones where it's like you want to go beat up the world and throw around some weights or something. And then right after that is when he released Autumn Gloom, which I think takes some more emo rap influence, but also like some love song kind of vibes. I don't know how to say it, kind of like R&B almost. It's very hard to say, just because each album has a different unique sound, and Save Our Souls was emo rap, but Autumn Gloom is also that. But the way that the two contrast, I mean, it's hard to say, but they sound, you can tell the difference.
Diamonds in your eyes, shining like a flare. It's really no surprise, you can buy me with a stare. Without you I would die, okay maybe not, but what I'm trying to say is I really like you.
And even more recently in 2021, he did a single with Mongolia Park called Back on My Bullshit.
Well, apparently you never got off your bullshit. You're still fucking up names. Mongolia. Come on. Come on, buddy. Come on.
This is like a pop punkish kind of thing, like almost MGK kind of vibe. So again, we're just going all over the place. Okay, so that's the progression, but how did this work out for Jake? So if you were to compare Jake Hill's first album, which I believe was 2016, 2017, to Autumn Gloom or any of his new singles, I think you would notice a very clear difference in his abilities as a rapper. Not just a sound, but he's actually improved as an artist. And I believe a lot of this is because he's experienced so many different niches within the rap niche that his flows have been all over the place. It kind of all blends together, whether he's trying to do that or not. If you learn how to flow on this side of things, and then you also learn how to flow on this side of things, when you go to do this thing, it's probably gonna kind of mix in, and it makes your mind more aware of how music works and how rapping works, or so I would assume.
Okay, but like, what the fuck do you know about rapping, huh? Mongolian part, come on.
He's gotten more metaphorical, kind of moving away from sort of the cheesy lines, and when they are delivered, it doesn't feel cheesy either. When it is kind of cliche, it feels more like it mixed in with the flow. Whatever follows it is more metaphorical. It makes a lot of sense, and he's not rapping for the sake of rapping. Sometimes you throw in rhymes that really don't mean anything, whereas his new shit, it really does. It adds to the whole meaning of the song. If you want an example of this, compare the song Mindless to Watch Me Wither or Worst Mistakes.
Sometimes I wake up and I wish I didn't wake up. I lose my head sometimes, but I know what I'm really made of. I'm turning gray again, but it's all good, it's nothing new.
So throughout this whole wide array of sound changes and improvements, what does Jake Hill's success look like? Well, when I first started listening to Jake Hill, which I believe was like 2017, 2018, he had around 1 million monthly Spotify listeners. Now, I mean, these things go up and down as people release things. Now he's sitting around 2.8 million. He's probably peaked at 3 million when he releases his new stuff, but that's an upward trend. I mean, 2.8 million monthly Spotify listeners is nothing to joke about, especially as somebody that comes from the metal scene. I mean, 2.8 million monthly listeners is like, you know, you're getting into like Slipknot ranks, which there's only a few of those in metal right now. So, and 2.8 million, that's not the end of it. He's gonna continue to grow, and mark my words, Jake Hill will go down as one of the most legendary emo kind of alternative rappers of our time. And I really do mean that. And one of the reasons that really drove me to make this video, not just the fact that his music has kept me around. I mean, it's really helped me out through emotional times. So putting the emotional attachment aside, I just think Jake Hill is a very talented artist and he's done a lot to work on it. He's always putting out new stuff and I just feel like he's a little overlooked, to be honest. I mean, the metal community, they definitely know who he is. But as far as the mainstream community, I don't know what it is. They're not really into it, which it kind of confuses me why mainstream isn't really into emo rap, because a lot of it's just very, very similar. I'll probably have to dive into that a little bit more. I'm not really informed enough to make a video on that, at least yet. But bottom line, Jake Hill didn't pick a niche that really confined him as an artist and a creator. He rather chose a niche as a rapper, which is very broad, which has allowed him all of this success. All right, let's wrap this up. The next time somebody screams at you to stick to your niche, remember this. We've all heard the quote, "A jack of all trades is a master of none." But that's only half of the quote, and I was actually very excited to hear that there's a second half of that quote. I had no idea. So it's a jack of all trades, master of none, but oftentimes better than master of one. And yeah, I think that sums it up. I mean, think of it like this. If I offer you one service as a businessman, and this guy over here offers 4 services kind of in the same wheelhouse, but I'm just really, really good at this service, okay? But this guy is like pretty good at 5 services. It's more than likely that that guy over there with the mixture of different services is going to get hired for the job just because he has more to offer. Now, some people are super diehard about sticking to your niche and being like specialists and all that, and there's something to be said about that. There's a little more to go into that, but I just wanted to show you guys a great example of somebody that didn't stick to their niche and kind of broke the boundaries, and how it's actually worked out for him and how it could actually work out for you as an aspiring artist or entrepreneur, as well as myself. I learned a lot by making this video. So if you guys like this video, please hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so you never miss another one of these Shredheads episodes. I also do a lot of reactions on this channel, so if you want to check those out, go ahead and do that too. I'm also on social media. Instagram and TikTok are my go-to. The best way to get in contact with me is by Instagram. And as always, I'm your boy Jordan Needham. This has been Shredheads on Jham Entertainment, and I will catch you next time.